What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, we are still waiting for the clocking flange to show up. It's been well over a week now and the item has not had any updates to the tracking number whatsoever, and we don't know where it is currently located at. So that means we are pushed back on Bronson's Turbo EK, and I'm starting to lose my mind a little bit, man. I've been eager to do this fabrication part for the turbo manifold, the turbo, the up pipes that we're going to be changing up on the car here, and this waiting game, man, it's killing me inside. But you guys know what it is here in the garage. We always try to stay busy in a sense, and in the last couple of days, you know, just waiting in between here, I've been doing a lot of other little things. If you guys follow me on Instagram, we've been building a bunch of lowrider bikes out of some old school Schwinn bike frames, and it's pretty cool. Yesterday I was going to record something with Kevin's bike that we finally finished up last night, but we've already started the process days before, and I didn't want to start, like, you know, recording the bike build towards the end of it. Yesterday we did all of the brake caliper brackets and such, and that thing stops on a dime. On the small battery that's currently on Kevin's bike, I did about 31.2 miles an hour on it, and I'm sure it'll go a lot faster, but we tested it out last night. Brakes work great. The bike feels pretty steady, smooth and straight, and I kind of want to build a lowrider bike as well too. I know my brother has a bunch of frames in the backyard he told me to choose from, but I gotta be here on schedule with what I'm doing with the cars on the driveway first before we get into a bike build. If you guys seen some of the bike builds on Instagram, let me know if you guys or even the viewers here on YouTube want to see me do a lowrider bike conversion here on the channel. Probably do like one big build video on it from beginning to end, and kind of see how that works out with the algorithm. Now I did get one package for Bronson. Ooh, that's a crazy ass looking spider. What in tarnations? Not on my watch, fool. But anyways, guys, we're gonna do a little bit of talking today, a little bit of engine preparation, because we just got something dropped off a little bit earlier. Big shout out to Kenny for coming through, giving me a crazy deal on this setup, and I think we're gonna start putting it into motion. If you guys haven't seen the previous video of when we went to Antioch to go pick up my built bottom end, we kind of had some plans changed with the setup here. So in today's video, we're gonna kind of shed a little bit more light on it. Now that I've made this purchase, there's really no turning back. Technically, there is a chance that I can turn back if I wanted to, but I think we're kind of set in motion of what we're gonna be doing with all of this moving forward. So right here on my dolly, we have another K20a2 long block, along with another transmission I just picked up. Shout out to Kenny again for giving me a killer deal on both of these. Now this right here, did I really need it? No. Is this the one that we want? Yes. So if you're a front wheel drive, turbo or nitrous car, this is a transmission you want for the longer gears. This is an EP3 transmission. Now I do have a R6 5-speed in the storage unit that I can use, because obviously that's what we had in Project Blueberry. Worked wonderful with 11.5, but the EP3 has that longer first gear that everybody wants. So Kenny gave me a killer deal, so I picked up an EP3 transmission along with this long block, and I want to talk about this long block here in just a moment. If you guys remember the video where we went to go pick up this short block right here, this is the original K20a2 with all the components matching to that came out of the silver EF sedan. Now this car popped on the dyno last November, pulled the engine out, sent the engine off to my tuner, and shout out to Chris Built. They all put hands on this engine to get me a piston rod setup for it. Now I mentioned in the previous video that this car is that bottom dollar budget K-Series turbo all-wheel drive build that we're doing here on the channel to show you guys that you don't need a ton of money to make a fun, fast car. So because I want to keep the idea, the theme of the build the same with budgeting, I want to start back to how the car was with the stock motor. So I decided that I'm not going to use this piston rod block in this car. Okay, hear me out. I'm not using the piston rod motor in this car anymore. So I ended up picking up that A2 long block, which is the same as that guy and all of this, and I'm going to clean this up, do the maintenance on it, compression test it, and if it's all good and dandy, we're going to assemble it to put it back into this car. Now you're asking me, what am I going to do with the built motor? The built motor is now, I'm certain this is what I want to do. I'm now going to be taking this built short block And I'm gonna build the cylinder head like a OE rebuild plus SuperTech valve train, stock cams and all, and plant this engine into my blue car to turn it back up to 600 horsepower. If you guys also remember in that video, this is the original shore block that was piston and rod setup for the blue car that I lost the bearings when I was driving back from the track. If you guys want to know what the bearing looked like, let me show you guys. So these are the bearings that came out of that engine. We all don't know what happened to it. It literally disintegrated into sand, and the rod and crank itself actually didn't look too bad. When I pulled it apart, it literally had no bearing, and this is all that came out of there. So the long block came out of the car, went back to get rebuilt, and turned out the cylinder number 2 at the bottom of the sleeve looks like it has a hairline crack. So that block has been gone for a year and a half, came back with that crack, and I dropped off another short block also in this video to get that motor built for the blue car. Now, I'm not in a rush to have that motor back, and I don't know when that motor's coming back, so I decided if I want that car to be back at 600 horsepower, that'll be the short block I'd be using. Now, you're probably wondering, Static, why would you take apart a perfectly good running car? Pump gas, makes 460. I've driven this thing to SoCal and back 1,000+ miles at a time. Why would I take it apart? So let me explain. I drove this car to a car meet they hosted for 1320 Kyle, rest in peace. And I drove this car. I made 1.5 hits at 460 horsepower. I've driven it for 2 years now. You kind of get used to it, and it doesn't feel as fast anymore. Now, 2 years I've been driving this setup, and I'm kind of ready for the next power level. We originally made 600. I only made like maybe 3 or 4 pulls myself, and I didn't get used to it yet before the engine got hurt. So I kind of want to crank it back up to 600 safely, and getting used to the car at 600, go a little bit faster. And obviously, like I told you guys before that I want to put a cage in this car, probably to want to do like a 10.5 or a 10.0 class eventually, or if not, by next year. So 600 horsepower should get me there. We need to get the car to 600 first before we can plan the rest of the way. The perfectly good engine that's running in the blue sedan right now, the K20Z1, bear with me, starting to get a little confusing because there's a lot of engine involved, a lot of cars involved. The engine that's in the blue car, the K20Z1, I'm pulling it out, and I'm going to be using that engine with this transmission, the EP3, and we're going to stuff it into my KRX. This may raise another eyebrow. Static, why would you do that to the KRX? My most reliable car, NA, my track car. I put that K24 in there about 3 years ago. I told myself to get this car ready for road racing. Have not touched a road course since I rebuilt it with the K24. I don't think I will anytime soon, realistically. And I just want a really fast front-wheel drive car again. Front-wheel drive car again, listen to that part, is because I want to run slicks and skinnies again, and I'm able to join the front-wheel drive shootouts when they happen. That'll bring it more content to the channel, more of the fun side of, you know, the videos to the channel, and it'll still be reliable in a sense because 1, it's a stock motor, 2, it can be on pump gas and still make 450, and I can still drive it reliably down to SoCal and back when I do, like it currently does in that car. So yeah, that's the whole entire game plan, and me buying this engine and transmission is kind of now set in stone. Again, I can still turn back, but we're proceeding to move forward with it until I decide if I want to change my mind before the whole entire thing actually happens. Obviously, you guys will get more of a thorough gist with everything when we dive into all of the cars, but today in this video, all we're really doing is we're going to do a compression test on this K20a2. It's fully attached. Everything is still on here aside from the attachment on the outside. I'm going to put a flywheel on here, a starter. We're going to do a compression test on each cylinder to see the health of this engine. I'm going to have to rob an engine stand, one of the 3 here in the garage. I have a short block here. I can't put that on the floor because there's no oil pan. Seal cam that we're not really doing much with it right now because I don't have a ball hone to do the rebuild where all the piston rings and bearings, everything's in here. I might pull this one off. Or Chewy's engine has been sitting here for I don't know how many months now. I don't know what he's doing with it. It's just taking up space. Already done the valve lash. Everything top to bottom has already been assembled. The bung oil pan's already on there. I can't technically take this off and put it on a dolly and use this engine stand, but I need to get this long block on an engine stand because I want to tear the oil pan and the timing chain side apart so we can do all the new timing chain and guides, which originally came out of that car. These are all brand new stuff. And also put on my turbo oil pan right there that has the dash 10 bung on it, so we can get that all nice and prepped along with valve lash, whatever else we need to do to get that thing ready to go into this car. I know it sounds like a lot of talking, guys. Let's get to work. All right guys, so we have my entrapment all set up. We have the power bank connected to the starter along with the battery from Bronson's EK. I will put his battery on the trickle charger. I just want to make sure we don't trip out the jumper box, and also we have enough power to get full cranks for each cylinder. Compression test is hooked up. For the K series, pretty simple. Hook up a flywheel and the starter is on the outside and not on the transmission, so we don't actually need the transmission on there like a B series. I do have a button right here on the starter as well, just to make it easy to engage. So let's go ahead and see what cylinder number 1 is going to read. Now the internet says you can do a compression test without the intake manifold. It kind of mimics wide open throttle, so we should get reading. Here we go. Man, this thing is like on steroids, but we're only getting about 10 psi. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. 10 psi is practically nothing. Cylinder number 2. We have the same deal. There's only like 6.5 psi in cylinder number 2. So I'm wondering if the timing is off or the valve lash is off. That's causing a low reading. Guys, we have a massive problem here. So I've rotated this crank about 100 times now to get it in timed, and usually you mark up the guys, we have an issue right now. Guys, we have a major issue right now. So I rotated the crank a couple of times counterclockwise. Guys, we have a major problem. I rotated the crank clockwise a couple of times to try to get the crank to line up with the cam gears at TDC to check valve lash, and I cannot get this thing to line up at all. And what this is leading me to believe is that the tensioner failed and it skipped timing a lot. So if you look right here, this little white mark is lined up with the arrow, right? And then up here, the pistons at TDC is at the very top. But if you look at the cam gears, you can see the arrow and this dot. These guys are aligned with each other, but they're not pointing up like they're supposed to. You can see the lobe here is still touching that valve, which means it's opening that valve at TDC, which is not good. And this just simply indicates that the timing is completely off, which makes sense. It makes sense why we don't have any compression reading in cylinder number 1, possibly cylinder number 2 as well, because the timing is so off. The valve is staying open because the lobes are pushing down on it on TDC. So Facebook Marketplace, huh? Got ahead of myself, took the timing cover off, and you can see right there the arrow is lined up to the arrow on the short block, right? And again, pistons on TDC is at the very top, and again the cam gears are super far off, right? So if you look right here, tensioner, this is not supposed to go backward. Check this out. Yeah, I can push that with my hand. I talked to Kenny and we're gonna work something out. I can possibly still salvage this long block. I mean, if I decide I want to take the cylinder head off, I do. I do have a rebuilt K20a2 cylinder head, which is right here. It's been sitting up here for a while. New valve seal. It already has the surface chopped for a fresh head gasket, and I could just slap that on. I do somehow, fortunately, have a brand new OEM head gasket here somewhere. Right here, PRB head gasket from Honda. I mistakenly bought this when I was rebuilding the K24. I ended up buying a new K24 head gasket, and I had that as a spare. So like I said, worst case scenario, I can always replace the cylinder head to make further progress rather than send it off to the machine shop, wait however long it takes to come back, and then, you know, slap that on. But at the end of the day, the engine itself looks really clean. Really clean. So this right here is the original tensioner I pulled off the engine. I have the original one that came out of that car, and I was able to click it 2 more times because I like to manually tension the tensioner, and it is locked in. It does not move. This one though, when you pull it back, it's supposed to lock, but it's not. You see? Trash. So everything's back to TDC where it's supposed to be. You can see the black links right there, the bottom one on the tooth with the dot. And I'm just curious now. I'm gonna see what the compression number is looking like. So the number bumped up a lot. It probably has a bent valve. After the valve lash, 98 in cylinder number 2. I'm just freaking curious. You want to let air in until the needle gets into the yellow where it says set. 80%. The intake side. It's coming from the intake side a lot. I've done the research and I've sent the results to a bunch of my friends, and I think we've all come to the conclusion that the cylinder head definitely have a bunch of bent valves. So until we come to an agreement with this long block, it's just gonna sit right there until then. And today we're gonna continue with Bronson's EK. I am gonna be polishing out his hood. Sorry to show you guys this in the dark, but you can clearly see we have no shine here, and then we have an ultra gloss finish over here. So today we're gonna be sanding down the hood, and I'm hoping, crossing fingers, that we can knock this out and knock out the wing as well too. I want to sand the surface down with 800 just to kind of get all that little haze off right there. You can kind of see it a little bit. I was able to do this with hand on 1000 grit to take off most of this, but if I had 800, I'm almost certain I can take all of that off. But today we're going to be using the 3M DA sander right here. Hopefully this will help chop it down a lot more than doing it by hand like I did over here. The goal is to sand all of this down in multiple grits. I think we're going to do 1000, 1500, 2000. I think, I'm not sure, I might have 25. If I don't, I finish it off with 2000 and polish it with a 3M compound, and this is what it looked like. This is better than that. So with that being said, let's get to it. Man, I spent a cool minute sanding this hood. I started originally with 1000, right? And then I found 600 in my bin, which is by hand. So I pretty much undid the 1000 to run 600. 600 to try to get off a lot of these. I don't know if you guys can see whatever that imperfection is, right? I tried to dig in it as much as I could with 600, and it still wouldn't take off like majority of it, and it seems like it's the same pattern all the way around. I would have to really dig my fingers out in order to get it to like You can kind of see a little bit right there where it started like smoothing out a little bit, right? But I feel like it's gonna take me way too long by hand to try to do that with 600. So I ran the whole hood with 600, and then I chased it with 1,000 grit pretty thoroughly in 4 sections, and then I chased it with 1,500 right there. 1,500. I just went through the whole thing. It is super smooth, although now that the water is dry, you can kind of still see whatever that coat is. But when it's wet, you really can't tell. Honestly, I think when the whole entire hood is all shiny, you're really not going to notice whatever that is, because it's literally uniform through the entire hood, right? Now if it was like super flat out and then one side has this, you'll see the cloud change, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So right now I'm gonna try to finish with, like, I don't know what size I have after. I might have 2,000 by hand. I'm gonna have to check somewhere there. If I have 2,000, I'm gonna hit it with 2,000, and then we're gonna go straight to polishing with the wool pad. So let me find 2,000. Man, the wing is very far gone. So I've sanded this thing down 600, 400, 220, and that top coat is still super hazy. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to cut it real quick to see if the carbon will at least come through, and it barely does. Now I'm gonna try to hit it with 100, and I'm gonna really watch it so I don't go down to the weave, because if I can get a lot of that haze off, maybe clear coat can bring it back. But this is a lot of freaking work, because that haze, it goes down the clear coat. Let's see what I can do with what I have. So I burned this top coat with 100 grit for like 10 minutes. You can see all these scratches of the 100, and I wanted to put some clear coat on there to see if we chop down that haze. Clear coat is on, and that haze is still pretty heavy on there. I don't know if I can save this with whatever I have in this garage, so I think I'm gonna put off the wing for a different day until I find a better solution. I am gonna wipe off this clear coat now so it's not dried up on there. It's still wet, and we're just gonna turn our focus to polishing the hood. Let's get it. You guys watch Beer Meets Food? That's the reference. Not gonna lie to you guys, the hood looks a lot better than when we first started this process, where it was like super faded beforehand. It looked like a flat black hood. Now when you look at it, oh, it's carbon, cool, nice, awesome, right? But clearly in the video you guys can see all that haze right there and over there a little bit. For some reason this side cleared it really well when I did it the first time, and I did polish it again if you guys watched the video. But all that haze right there, I wanted to sand it much deeper to get all of it off, because clearly you can, but I don't want to get too far down the gel coat where we touched the weave, because when you get to that point you have to go by the gel coat, mix it up, and then fill in that area you got to the weave on to kind of build up that layer back up to protect the carbon. Now you guys saw on the wing we did down to 100 grit, and it still didn't take off all the haze. I got to figure out how to go about fixing the wing, and I mean, as much as I want to do more with this, this is all I can do for the polishing process. Now, if we were clear coating this, yeah, I would dove deeper into sanding it, but this whole carbon fiber refresh was not a part of the, you know, the task to do for this car being here on the driveway. So this is just something I did in between to kind of fulfill the days of waiting for parts, because we still don't have an update of where the clocking flange is at. It's been a week and a half out, and it's driving me insane. So doing this carbon stuff is just kind of, you know, keeping progress going somewhere, right? Because progress is better than no progress. But yeah, I mean, as far as the carbon hood goes, that's as far as I'm gonna get it. Aside from trying to figure something out with the wing, the hood is as far as I'm gonna get it. Now we're gonna wrap up this video right here, guys, because this was just a Facebook Marketplace purchase for the K20a2 long block and the EP3 trans. I'm very curious to know what the previous owner did with this transmission, because it was open before, and I'm hoping that it has like new synchros and bearings or something, because it feels really good, but we don't know what was done to it. I've had this Max P and Rod LSD sitting on the table. I've opened this a couple of months ago, and I had the intentions to put it into my 5-speed RSX trans, but I knew that if I was going to use a front-wheel drive transmission for boost, I wanted an EP3, which we now have. So we're switching the installation from the RSX to the EP3 trans, hopefully here soon. We'll figure something out with the K20a2 right here on the floor soon, so we can start assembling it and getting it all put back into the silver sedan, so we can get that car up and going again, because it is the only car in my fleet that doesn't run, and we need it to run. So we're gonna wrap it up for this video right here. I hope you guys enjoy this Facebook Marketplace win or fail. I don't know what you want to call it, but we're gonna make something of it. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around for more progress update, I'm hoping the next video the part will show up so we can start doing the teardrop up pipe setup for Bronson's LSV EK. If you guys want to stick around and see that, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It is hot. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.